Oh, and I want a new suit, and a dragon, and a Harley Davidson. Not to drive around, because I really don't like motorcycles, but what I would do is I would put the motorcycle on top of the dragon, so whenever I flew over a city, people would look up and be like, holy shit, that guy's riding on a motorcycle on top of a dragon! So that'd be pretty cool. Oh, a fully functioning time machine, and a PlayStation 7, a copy of every single fairy tale volume, media, movie, and otherwise, can of gasoline, and a flamethrower. Ooh, and maybe while we're at it, we can get Hunter x Hunter off of hiatus. Maybe that would be swell. Also, fully functioning Gurren Lagann actual-sized mech for me just to have general fun and mayhem with. Here's a question for you guys. If you guys could have any anime artifact, be it from a movie, manga, anime, whatever, any character that used it, and you have like full abilities to control it and everything, what would it be and why? I'm really looking forward to your weapons of mass destruction you're probably going to ask for and take over the world, so yeah. Merry Christmas! Everybody, Tekking101 here to review Bleach chapter number 560 entitled Rage is at Ringside. Why did I say it like that? I don't even know why. I'm just really pumped right now. I don't know why. Alright, so, Maste Masculine is looking on with awe at the strobe effect light as Renji and Ruki are arriving down from the heavens, but luckily we don't get to see him in this chapter, so yeah, just blot them out of your mind. They're falling down, and we cut over to Maste Masculine from the last chapter who's observing them, and he wonders whether he should go and check it out, or maybe he should go do something else, because he's kind of split on the subject. What say you, James? I already like this guy. Wait a second, is that a freaking... Is he wearing a bow tie? Bow ties are okay, I guess. They're not my choice of attire, but I guess they're alright. Anyway, James, his little gremlin assistant, states that, yeah, you should go check that out totally, because if you were able to knock out whoever made that flashy entrance, you would be seen as even more awesome. So that's all Maste Masculine says, and he says, that settles it. Let us make haste, James. He takes a step forward and is about to leave, but all of a sudden Shuhei wraps his Shini chain around him and reveals that he's not out the fight just yet. You think it's over just because you knocked us out? Alright, Shuhei, a couple things wrong with that statement. Translating aside, number one, you are clearly not unconscious, and number two, if he does knock you out and you can't get up and fight, then yeah, the fight's pretty much over. Sorry to tell you, bro, that's just kind of how it is. But hey, regardless of this, Maste Masculine just slowly reaches down, grabs the chain, and goes frickin' Mortal Kombat on Shuhei's ass.
Get over here! Fatality.
So he's about to lay the death stomp on Shuhei when all of a sudden a mysterious shadowy figure appears and knocks his foot away. For one reason, I thought this was Basby. For, like, just look at the shadow, it just really kind of resembled Basby to me, and I'm wondering, like, why the hell is Basby here, and why the hell does he have a grudge against Shuhei? I don't think Basby even met Shuhei yet. But no, it revealed, it is actually Kensei who arrived on the scene to help his lieutenant. And, well, help is kind of a subjective term at this point. Really, he's just looking to kick his ass for losing to Maste Masculine before he's showing off the fruits of his labor. So, from what we can assume is that Shuhei at least has unlocked some new power. You know, you want to jump to the conclusion right away and say, he's got Bankai now. So, you know, my theory on why Shuhei didn't just use his Bankai right out of the gate, if he does have it, because I think he pretty much does, because why else would Shuhei even, Kensei would even mention that, but I'm thinking the main reason why he didn't do it might be similar to his, the Shikai. You know, his Shikai, he was afraid of using it because he just didn't like the way it looked, and it was all, like, death incarnate, and he's not like that. He's kind of a pacifist, at least to a degree. So maybe his Bankai, what I'm thinking is, will actually change his personality, because we've never really seen this before where a Bankai can really manipulate a person's personality. It's more like a resurrection thing, but like, why else would he be so afraid to use that? I mean, even in his fight against Findor, he didn't like to use his Shikai, but if he was about to die, or if he tried everything else and nothing else worked, then he whips his Shikai out, if he's like on death's door. But here, it was already apparent that he was getting knocked down, and if he had any power that he would just be able to whip out and use, you think he would use it. So if he didn't use his Bankai, there's probably a good reason, either in his bullshit mentality, or maybe it drains, or maybe he can't be using it in an area with other people around because Kaku and Yumichika are still there. So maybe that's like some reason. I'm sure Shuhei's not that much of an idiot. He's not going to let his friends die if he can help it. So there's some other reason. Anyway, Kensei states that he's the captain of the division with Shuhei, and Maste Masculine for a second here is just like, wow, it'd be really awesome if I ran into you a little bit earlier when we were taking out all the captains, and I would love to fight you right now, because he's currently going to go try and check out what was going on with the lights from earlier with Ruki and Renji's arrival. Another figure appears and said, oh no, we're not going to be having any of that bullshit, and it's revealed to be Rose. Oh yeah, tag battle, Rose and Kensei. 2 Bankais, 2 visors, no holds bar. This is going to be, that's not going to happen, isn't it? Okay, yeah, I figured. So Rose, I guess, is just kind of there to make sure that, you know, Maste Masculine just doesn't leave. He's kind of like a gate or like insurance. And Kensei just states, oh, don't worry. I'm not the fucking around. And Kensei, in his typical fashion, is just like, oh, no. I didn't come here to fuck around. Because Kensei, let's be honest here, is probably one of the more straightforward, no BS characters in this entire series. He does not screw around with people, you know? He gets into the ring with Ichigo when he was a Hollow. He was one of the only visors to actually just whip out his Shikai right away. He fights against Wonder Weiss Majera. He doesn't screw around. He punches the freaking kid in the face, and then he goes Bankai. I mean, he lost somehow, but still, I mean, he at least went right to it. And right here, he's just like, no. Knock down my lieutenant. You got places to be. I got places to be. Bankai! Tekken Tachikaze! You know, now I'm kind of kicking myself because I made a Mortal Kombat joke later, and it's Tekken Tachikaze, so I could have made a Tekken joke. Well, you know, going by that logic, my name's Tekking101. Theoretically, I could put a Tekken joke in every single video, and everyone would be, oh, okay, that's why he's named Tekking. No, it isn't. So hey, maybe we'll at least get to check out exactly what his Bankai can do as opposed from the last time he used it. But Maste Masculine nonetheless is pumped up for the fight, tosses his mantle aside, and then lands a drop kick as the title page appears over it, rages at ringside. So he lands his drop kick right into Kensei, sends him flying into one of the Vendete's buildings, and Kensei blocked it with his Bankai and is just like, you gotta be freaking shitting me. Shuhei lost to this? I'm gonna kick that bastard's ass after this is over. Really kind of reminding me of the Raikage A from Naruto here, just because I think in Naruto, A would probably be one of the more no BS characters in that series, because he, for the most part, he just, you know, whips out his strongest techniques pretty much from the get-go, and this reaction with Kensei to Shuhei is very similar to the way A and B were in the 5 Kage Summoning Arc. Anyway, that was your obligatory Naruto reference for the video. So anyway, going back to the fight, in this corner, weighing at a fuck-ton, Maste Masculine Sternritter S, and in this corner, Kensei Mugaruma, weighing in height at something that's probably been revealed in a data book, but I'm too lazy to look up. Here you go. And here we go with the fight. Oh my god, Bill, and in a first round knockout, we have a devastating haymaker from Mugaruma. You know, I don't watch wrestling or boxing, so I have no fucking idea what a haymaker is, but if it's not what that is, it needs to be. I'm telling you, Bill. Bill is my imaginary friend. I just made him up. How you doing, Bill? I'm good. So Maste Masculine just collapses to the ground like he's constipated, and we get a little bit of explanation of exactly how Kensei's Bankai works. See, basically, whenever it's in the Shikai, whatever his Bankai cuts implodes from the inside. So we had the explanation from that whenever he used it against Ichigo with his hollow form, he blew his arm off, and again when he like stabbed the Menos Grande and his head exploded, or imploded, I guess I should say, that's more accurate. But whenever he goes into Bankai, all that destructive power from the sword, from the knife, or the what's it called? Combat knife, I guess you could call it when he was in his Shikai. That gets compressed down to his knuckles or the gauntlets on his Bankai. I guess the fan thing behind him is just for aesthetics. But basically, his hand gauntlets can morph too. It's like they started off as like those axe blade things, but they converted to like brass knuckles when he punched Maste Masculine in the stomach. And yeah, so basically, he has like dynamite on his hands essentially, and whatever he hits, and the longer he stays in contact with whatever he punches, explodes all the more fiercely. So yes, we finally got a character in Bleach that blows shit up a lot. You know, we always need one of those in any kind of manga series. Karasu in Yu Yu Hakusho, Mr. 5 in One Piece. Up to this point, all we got in Bleach is this chick. I'm sorry, but in terms of blowing shit up, we need a nice manly character to do that crap. Sorry, Bambietta, you just don't fit the bill. Alright, so Kensei epic final finishing attack. The bursting power will continue to hit you infinitely as long as the knuckle is touching you. Question though, whenever he punched you know, I guess this could just be a testament to Maste Masculine's power, but whenever he punched him the first time and he like collapsed on the ground like he was constipated, he didn't explode. So, I mean, granted, he didn't punch him for that long. I mean, he says the more contact the punch has with you, the more you're going to explode infinitely. But the first time he hit him, you know, it was just like regular punch and he collapsed, but he didn't explode. So maybe that's just a testament to either his blue vein or just how strong he is in general. So anyway, this time though, he does not hold back. Kensei, boom, right in the freaking stomach. Maste Masculine gets sent flying, dented into the side of a freaking Vendetta building like 4 stories off the ground. So, as you would probably assume like I did, fight's over automatically. Now, I'm sure a lot of you immediately assume that Maste Masculine's power, because he was the S and he has the gist of his appearance and demeanor, it wasn't really anything too overly complicated. It wasn't like magic or anything like that. It's not going to be like Bambietta's Explode or like the Yourself or anything really complicated. He seemed like the typical character in the series. I compared him to Yami a bunch of times where he's just like brawn over brains kind of character. And to an extent, I might have gotten the brawn over brains aspect right. But in terms of just the simple power, no, I was wrong on that, and I will admit to that. So, Kensei and Rose are just kind of looking on. Rose is just like, well, I guess I was just a spectator. It's a funny because it's like a wrestling joke or whatever. Shuhei gets up, and he's just like barely conscious, and Kensei is kind of chastising him, and Shuhei's just like, no, Captain, wait! You got it wrong! You have to defeat the little guy first! And Kensei just turns to him, and you can tell, you don't really see what he says, but you can just tell the look on Kensei's face. He's just like, you son of a bitch, you couldn't have said that a little bit fucking earlier, Shuhei. Because Shuhei, he wasn't unconscious. I mean, we clearly saw him when he was like, he had enough energy to wrap that chain around Maste Masculine. I mean, I know he like Lariated the guy down, but you think he would just be able to like, Captain, attack the little tree stump dude first. Something like that. Dying words if it was that important. But, whatever. So, James is who he's referring to, and, Kensei even looks over at James for a little bit, and he's just like, wow, this fight was kind of pathetic. But James is like, oh, no, Maste Masculine, you can't die, you can't lose. And he shouts and he chants and he, applauds him, and then all of a sudden, like, I guess he just goes like Super Saiyan or the Incredible Hulk takes over, because he grows to like several times his own size, at least like double his own size, appears in front of Kensei and Rose, and he just, extends his fist and just boom, Kensei into the side of a building. Rose turns around and you can just see the flash on his face like, oh my god, this happens every time I'm in a fight. Boom! He gets knocked away. We don't see where Rose goes, but he's definitely probably, several kilometers away at the moment. And so they're both gone, and this leaves Maske Masculine to strike an epic pose a la Colonel Armstrong from Fullmetal Alchemist, and states that I'm Sternritter S, the superstar. And cheering and applause from the audience makes him stronger. And hey, at least this kind of gives credence to kind of my theory, because last chapter I'm just like, wouldn't it be funny because every Sternritter like has an understudy or something, because not a lot of Sternritters just have like a Fraction or kind of an assistant, except for Maste Masculine at this point with James. And I'm thinking, he's going to do something, obviously, because they wouldn't just have him there for no reason. And yes, this is tantamount to his power. But if you really think about it, depending on how his power works and how vague it is, really it could just be anybody. Like, even if James does get defeated and Masculine gets defeated by somebody, couldn't just like, Yuha just be like, climb out on his roof and just be like, hey, Mask! Get up! He's like, oh, I heard cheering. Okay, it could be anything. It doesn't have to be James, but I guess that makes sense why he's just, trucking James around with him. Probably like Master Blaster, maybe like a little, like a thing just to carry around him on his shoulders, just because, just like, hey, guess what? I need you. Just shout enough and we'll be good. So, next chapter, I'm not sure what's going to happen next. If it's going to be like, Shuhei's definitely down, Ikaku and Yamachika, we didn't even see them, so I'm assuming they're still unconscious. It's still, the jury's still out on Kensei and Rose. Maybe Rose is out of the fight because Rose is a little bit more, of a lightweight. I'm not saying Rose is weak or anything. I'm just saying in terms of durability, I'm probably going to put that on Kensei. Then again, they could have pulled off like I holified at the last minute, therefore I was protected. But, I want to think Kensei just, pulls himself out of the rubble with the holomask on, and he's just like, okay, you know what? It's cool, Shuhei. You could have told me that a little bit freaking earlier, but okay, I'll take this little doofus out first. Because Maste Masculine doesn't really seem, I don't know how this boost works. If it's just like he gets enough cheers and his power just like spikes really immediately and then goes back down to level, or if it's just like every time he gets knocked down, just cheering will bring him back to life. I'm not really sure how this exactly functions, but I'm sure they might explain it a little bit more next chapter. I was surprised in general. I was surprised that they kept with the one solid fight the entire chapter. I mean, weren't you? I mean, we had that one little scene with we didn't even really see Renji or Rukia, but just the scene of them falling. But for the rest of the time, it was just a solid fight. I was really content with that. A really short chapter, all things considered, because of that reason. But like I said before, even if it's just a short chapter, if it's just a solid fight, if it's a fight we have not seen before and it's with characters we have not seen before, I'm fine with it. I'm cool. It doesn't have to have like three different plots going on at the same time in one single chapter. It's okay just to have one chapter with one fight if you do it well. And I consider, yeah, Kubo, you did this pretty well. You explained Kensei's Bankai a little bit. Still don't have an explanation exactly how Wanderweiss survived that, because, yeah, Wanderweiss was pretty tough, but, I mean, I guess you could say because he was the extinguisher, he could just extinguish the explosions, but, you know, just the way it functions, I don't think he'd be able to do that or whatever. But, you know what, I'm sure you guys have theories on that below, so you can post that. Other than that, yeah, that's all I really got to say. So, Tekking101, signing out, guys. Laters.